Hello everyone on YouTube. Please take a moment and click the thumbs up button below this video. Leaving a like lets us know you enjoyed this episode. Also hit the subscribe link as we release videos throughout the week, not just from the voices you hear on the podcast, but from other members of the FTW community. For more information on how to get involved in the future, head on over to ftwpodcast.com. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Fans Talk Wrestling Podcast. FTW is a weekly WWE and TNA discussion where fans talk the wrestling world in all of its laughable glory. This is episode 234. That's 234, recorded live on September 30th, 2014 on FTWLive.com. Tonight, we discuss the Bellas, Wayne Arnold, Finn Bálor, roll-up pins, cash-ins more awkward than your first hand job, and Gold Rush. With me tonight is Nick. Say hello, Nick.
What's up, y'all?
And you, the live chat hooligans, if you are listening live, my name is Joe, and I'll be moderating tonight's conversation between myself and Nick, so there's no moderation. It's just two assholes talking. If you're listening live, say hi and leave your thoughts and comments on FTWLive.com, on the YouTube channel, on Twitter, use hashtag FTWLive, and if you're watching on YouTube, please leave a like we said before. Now let's talk about the week that was wrestling, and let's start off with some WWE. Last night, at the end of Raw, WWE aired a new Wyatt family promo, and it's just as delightfully weird as the previous ones. But it seemed to focus more or less on Luke Harper. So, Nick, what's your take?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to think. It almost seems like they're kind of dropping Rowan, which, to me, it's not that big of a loss. Rowan was never really did a whole lot. The most character he ever had was he pulls off the sheep mask and he's pissed.
Right.
Harper is a much more interesting character. He actually talks, for one. So it's kind of hard to figure just from what they've been doing, but it almost seems like they're prepping Harper to take more of a role, or more of a leading role, and have Wyatt step back a bit, maybe?
I mean, they could do something like that, but I mean, looking at it, I'm not really sure. I think Wyatt's still going to be, the big speaking voice, but you're right. They're doing something with Harper, and I know they were really up on him before he got his eye injury. And nobody knows that he did have quite the shiner. Apparently, he broke like his orbital bone or something like that. He broke something around his eye and wasn't doing a whole lot in the ring. But yeah, I'm not really sure what's up with Rowan unless Rowan's injured. Or if he got an injury that might sideline him for a while, I can see them really pushing this. But because Rowan doesn't speak, and Harper does, I definitely see why they push him more. But yeah, in that entire promo, there was only one shot of Rowan.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not really that much of a loss. It'll just be interesting to see how they move forward from this.
Yeah, definitely. But I liked the promo. I think it set up Luke Harper very well.
Absolutely.
Moving on. Well, it's official. Prince Devitt is now Finn Bálor. What do you think of the name change? And following the Kenta Hideo Itami name change, what do you think they're going to call Kevin Steen when he debuts?
Well, first of all, I love the new name. I know it's not a popular choice for whatever reason, but if you look up the two names, there's a lot of meaning behind it. Like, Finn is the name of a lot of legendary kings and warriors in Ireland, and Bálor he's a king of giants in Irish mythology. So that's kind of in keeping with the whole paint gimmick he had, where he'd assume the guys as different monsters like Venom or what have you. So it's kind of an homage to his previous incarnation as Prince Devitt. As far as what Kevin Steen will be called, I have a sneaking suspicion that they'll go with the Rock's original name for him and call him that Killsteen guy. But I mean, other than that, I have no idea.
That would be hilarious. It's kind of like when they had Just Joe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Did you watch during that period?
I've heard about it. I
The
didn't
early
watch though.
2000 the early 2000s SmackDown segment? Yeah. Yeah, it was always interesting. You kind of had that Dolph Ziggler thing when Dolph Ziggler debuted, like, "Hi, I'm Dolph Ziggler." "Oh, I'm just Joe." And they had him in like a match or two and then disappeared. It's like, wait, what? Where did he go? Um, yeah. I don't mind the new name, Finn Balor or Balor, or I don't know. The A's got an accent on it. I'm not good at that kind of thing.
Yeah, Gaelic
Um,
is fucking weird as far as pronunciation
yeah,
goes.
it's probably like Finn. I don't know. It's all over the place. Um, yeah, just the weird the what letters make what sounds and what combinations. I just don't get it. I wish I did. I wish I also learned Latin, but I never did that either. But yeah, the name change is good. I hope they keep Kevin Steen as Kevin Steen, just because it's not a bad name.
Hmm.
Uh, I think they can only come up with worse. I don't think they're going to do any better. Just some of the names they came up with like in the past, like Gavin Spears. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, and there's an argument to be made for keeping that name as opposed to the others because, I mean, Prince Devitt. Prince is kind of an odd name. When most people think Prince, they think music star, not wrestler. And as far as Kenta goes, like, there was an entire reason why Kenta Kobayashi went just by the name Kenta, so he wouldn't get confused with Kenta Kobashi.
Right.
So it makes sense to change it entirely to create his own identity. With Kevin Steen, though, you don't really run into that problem of confusing him with somebody else. So,
You can team up with Nash,
yeah, I suppose.
and then we can get that cross promotion with TNA against the Bobbies.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, but that's for video game reality. When you create your characters, oh, I'll create this guy, I'll create this guy. Oh, this guy, MVP is no longer in the WWE. I'm gonna put him in the WWE 2K15.
There you go.
Yeah. Moving on, unless you have anything else to say.
Nope, that pretty much covers it.
Cool. There's speculation that the Bellas, Nikki and Brie, will face each other at Hell in a Cell. In the Cell. Uh, to me, I'm actually looking forward to that idea because not because I'm either a Nikki or Brie fan, but because I would like to see the women participate in a Hell in a Cell match. I,
Yeah,
give them something to do. They're not delicate little flowers like you want them to believe. I mean, come on, fucking feminism now.
there you go. Yeah, it probably wouldn't be that bad of a match. There's definitely enough animosity to warrant that. Um, they may not be Paige and AJ level wrestlers, but they're certainly not bad. And having a gimmick match like that would kind of detract from the lack of skill. So there are definitely a lot worse ideas to be had.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I've said before, we haven't had a Divas match that was anywhere interesting. Like the tables match they had with uh, Lay Cool and uh, Beth Phoenix and Natalia. Like that was interesting. It was out of the box. It was creative. It showed women can go through tables and still survive, and they can be hardcore. They can be just as hardcore as the men. And I want to see more of that. And I think the Cell is a wonderful way to do it. But man, they better book this one well.
Yeah, yeah, there are definitely a lot of booking pitfalls that they could run into. They'll have to navigate carefully for sure.
I definitely expect other people to run in, but I don't expect them to be on top of the cage. Could you see Brie Or Nikki, like Nikki giving the attitude adjustment to Brie on top of the cage and sending her through.
No, I could not see that. Although now I'm starting to see Brie doing a diving headbutt from the top of the cage. Because I mean, she's taken over every other part of Daniel Bryan's arsenal. So
Yeah, or
why not that?
do the running double knee, and as they make the impact, they both go through the cage.
That
Oh
would
my
actually kind of be a
God!
pretty cool spot.
She's they're split in half. They're split in half. Just sew them together. Doesn't matter which halves. One large breast, one small breast on each. No. Yes, I know. That's Joe at the FTW podcast.com. If you have a problem with it, it's a joke, people. Come on. But yeah, I think Nikki and Brie. I think women in a cell done right would be awesome. But I think it's better with AJ Lee and Paige, definitely. But hey, that's fine too. Let's see some blood and guts and gore.
Yep.
Yep. Moving on, because we get submissions on the Google Plus and sometimes the Facebook and the Twitter. Lou Martinez on Google Plus asks, "Am I the only one that's bothered by how many matches a week end with a roll-up pin? Are finishing moves becoming obsolete?" Nick, what are your thoughts?
I don't think they're becoming obsolete, but yeah, it definitely is kind of annoying that a lot more matches now end with the distraction roll up. It, if nothing else, you're discrediting the wrestlers and their intelligence a lot. No matter who it is, it's once maybe yeah, twice yeah I guess, but like every other match, it's it's kind of insulting to basically everybody involved, the viewers, the wrestlers, everybody. There, I guess you could kind of find a silver lining in that cloud. Like maybe they want to protect finishers a little more, but that seems like it'd be more of an incidental thing than a planned thing, though.
Yeah, you can only have somebody one up the other person with a roll-up and be successful so many times before it's just like, okay, seen it. That's the formula. That's the formula.
Yeah, like when Miz pulled the tights to win the IC championship, and then Dolph did it right back for revenge. Like that makes sense. That's
Exactly.
perfectly fine. It's just when it's every other match it's happening, it starts to get ridiculous.
It definitely does. And yeah, I don't want to keep seeing that kind of thing. Um, yeah, we need to see more definitive ends, not this roll up stuff. But that's how they're going to book it, and so be it. I mean, we can't really do much about that. That's not our job. Our job is to sit here and bitch on the internet. So, Amanda Deep on Google Plus asked, "Am I missing something, or did the latest cash-in seem odd? I mean, why bother going for it alone when you have a powerful faction behind you? Besides, don't the contract holders normally wait for the match to end before cashing in? Because it's kind of assumed that the champion is at their peak exhaustion at the very end." Now, maybe I'm crazy, but I could have sworn the match ended uh, during the last cash-in. Like it was a DQ, and then he went for the cash-in. I mean, the match was over technically. Am I wrong?
No, that's exactly what happened. I think he's getting at like usually there is a finish before the contract holder comes in to cash in. It's not usually the contract holder breaks up the match and causes a DQ finish and then cashes in. I I I want to say that's where he's going with that.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I get that. You want the definitive end, have that, be completely exhausted. But I mean, when Rollins attempted to cash in on Brock Lesnar, it was perfect because Brock was down. He also hit Brock with the curb stomp. I mean, he was done.
Hmm.
That it was perfect. He caused a DQ. Cena's not going to get it. I'm going to one up on Brock Lesnar or Brock. Oh, Lesnar.
There you go.
And I guess it was a little more Vince than Paul, but it was me, Austin. It was me all along. But yeah, I mean, I think it worked. Uh, Amandeep continues on saying, I like Nick's idea on the recent podcast of a triple threat match between Cena, Rollins, and Ambrose at Hell in a Cell. Money in the Bank contract could be on the line. Why? Because Cena wants another shot at Lesnar since Rollins ruined the rematch. Ambrose has been after it for months, and Rollins blew his chance and the element of surprise. Besides, he's probably now a target for Lesnar. A case of the hunter becoming the prey. This is probably the reason why Cena was calling him a fool at the end of the match. Uh, I think Mandeep's got some good points here, and I would love to see a triple threat like that, even if the case is not involved. Because I think a triple threat in the cage gives everybody something to do. There's always going to be something going on. Uh, I think it would just be entertaining. But that match would have to go outside.
Yeah, most likely. Well, first of all, I want to say I'm flattered that I was given the credit for this, but I'm pretty sure it was actually Harrison that came up with the idea. I just piggybacked off it. But yeah, it would definitely be a good match, and probably the main event because I've been hearing that Lesnar is not going to be working Hell in a Cell, but that's basically just rumor right now. So, uh, as the match stands, yeah, that would make a lot of sense. I The one part of that I don't agree with is that Rollins is now a target for Lesnar because Heyman pretty much dispelled that on Raw. Um, Rollins explained it as an opportunistic attack that it wasn't the Authority stabbing Lesnar in the back. It was Rollins seeing a shot and he took it. And Heyman admired that about him and he said, but if that happens again, you will be answered to Lesnar. So
Right.
it seems like it's all water under the bridge right now.
I don't think it's completely water under the bridge, but yeah, I think it sets up a good match. I would love to see Lesnar versus Rollins, just because Rollins is so far out of the box right now. Like match wise, it's not a formula.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've said many times on the show, I hate when guys just get so formulaic.
Yeah, it would definitely be a refreshing change of pace. And I don't think a lot of people would see it either, especially given that everything does seem to be cool now. And you don't really expect Rollins, even though he is Mr. Money in the Bank, you don't really expect Rollins to step up to Lesnar like that. You would
Right.
think that he'd wait for Cena to beat Lesnar or for somebody else.
Yeah. Agreed. Um, yeah, I don't really have much more to say until we see more of the storyline unfold, because I'm not really sure where they're going to go with it necessarily. Is Brock going to be involved? That's the big X factor. Him not being involved in a Hell in a Cell, though. I mean, what's the pay per view after Hell in a Cell?
Is it Survivor Series?
Oh shit, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That's November.
See, I mean, but then you could take Lesnar and put him in a 5-on-5. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily think they. I would rather see them blow an appearance at Hell in a Cell than Survivor Series.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be blowing an appearance because they did alter his contract where anytime the WWE wants him to show up, they pay him and he'll be there.
Right. But I mean, it comes down to the pocketbook too. Is how much do they want to spend on that?
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see Lesnar captaining a team, but I could actually see him captaining the Authority team. Like if Orton and Kane just keep on not producing and Rollins keeps getting one up by Cena or Ambrose, then yeah, I mean they've worked together before, so why wouldn't they now?
Yeah, we'll have to see. Holy crap! I managed to find where the live chat's going on. Uh, uh, Sorry about that, folks. I will try to bring your comments in if you are leaving comments on the YouTube page. Moving on to yet another topic. Adam Rose's bunny finally got a WWE profile page. Oh my god. This is amazing. Oh my god. Seriously? Really? We need to waste content with that?
I I actually kind of love it. The fact that they're committing so much to this is it's new, it's novel. I do kind of like it.
I see. I think it would have been funnier if they would have done it right off the bat.
Yeah, maybe.
Or at least as soon as the bunny started getting a little bit of traction. You know, when they started doing the JBL and Cole show all about trying to catch the bunny, then I think it could have been really funny.
Hmm.
But the personal opinion, it's still funny. Don't get me wrong. It's just, would the timing have been better? I don't know. But yeah, it's a great page. Side note on the WWE profile pages, yeah, every wrestler, male or female, has a link on the side to entrance videos. But when you click on it, it doesn't go to their entrance video. You click on Bailey's and it went to Gold Dust. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, some of that site is just a mess.
And if people are looking, if WWE is looking for a new web designer who's actually got their shit together, you can contact Garvin at FTWpodcast.com, and I'm sure he'll hook your bitch ass up. WWE Hell in a Cell takes place on Sunday, October 26th. We'll be previewing it in full on Tuesday, October 21st at FTW237. Oh my god, what's going on? It's going to be cool. Hell in a Cell. And, okay, Nick, one quick question. How many cell matches are we getting this year?
Oh, let's see. I think I'm gonna bet on two. Whatever the main event is, and I guess whatever feud is nastiest at the given time. So I mean, I don't know, Orton ver- Orton or Kane versus Rollins. That's starting to get heated, or the aforementioned Bella on Bella action. Giggity. Uh, um, yeah, it's kind of hard to think of another feud that really would kind of merit Hell in a Cell, because maybe the IC title match, because there's some bad blood between Miz and Ziggler right now, but yeah, I think we're gonna get two.
Okay. Yeah, two's pretty solid. If they're going to throw a third one in, I think it's going to be a tag team title match.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you
Just
could have the
because,
Dusties versus Usos.
that's the only thing you could do, unless you're going to throw in, like, Kane and Orton into that mix for some reason.
Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of meat in the cage, but it's a possibility. No, but I think two's a good call because you've got the Bella Fest and the main event. So, according to PW Insider, a Global Force Wrestling pay-per-view has been scheduled with major pay-per-view carriers for January 4th of 2015. While that's cool in itself, yay competition. For the past 22 years, New Japan Pro Wrestling has held their biggest event of the year, Wrestle Kingdom, and this time it's going to be Wrestle Kingdom 9, on that exact same date. It's rumored that Wrestle Kingdom 9 will in fact be a Global Force production to be broadcast in the U.S. rather than branded and produced by New Japan Pro Wrestling. What do you think?
That would be a pretty big deal. Uh, for one thing, that would make New Japan, depending on how big Global Force makes it, how big they promote it, that would be New Japan's biggest presence in the U.S. to date, I think. They've done some stuff with ROH. They had a couple shows this past year in New York and Canada, but I mean ROH still, it, you could call it the number three promotion in the U.S., but it still doesn't have anywhere near the same reach that a company like TNA or WWE has. Global Force has the potential to have that same sort of reach. If for no other reason than the fact that they've formed partnerships with fucking everybody, whether it's New Japan or CMLL or AAA or South Africa Pro Wrestling, but they've got connections everywhere now. So yeah, I mean, this would be a pretty big deal. Um, I mean, I definitely watch it. I've been dying for ways to get into New Japan more and more, and I mean, this would be a perfect way.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in seeing what they're going to be doing here because, I mean, hell, if even if Global Force is just going to go around and do like shows, produce shows for other companies to kind of bring, maybe that's it. Maybe they'll go to like Ring King and do a pay-per-view there, or and bring the world of wrestling to the U.S. I mean, to be viewed by the U.S. So that, I mean, maybe it's just like a media play. We don't know. I mean, at least I haven't heard anything that actually says yes, we're going to be a full-out fledged wrestling company.
Yeah, I mean, me neither. To my knowledge, they've signed maybe three wrestlers, and I mean, those wrestlers, if I'm thinking of the right guys, they all work in Japan anyway. Like Gallows, Lance Archer, and somebody else.
Didn't they sign Bad Influence?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if they've got them both, but I think they've got Daniels.
Hmm, I could see that. Oh, Doug Williams is the third guy I was thinking of.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's the only thing. Uh, yeah. Global Force. David Jill saying Global Force Wrestling in New Japan versus TNA and Wrestle One. I mean, that could be interesting. That's also a little awkward too. But I mean, speaking of TNA and well, hold on. Speaking of TNA, Wrestle One, Global Force, New Japan, talk about crazy stuff like that and viewing stuff in different places. Uh, yeah.
You're really reaching for the segue, aren't you?
I had it and then I lost it, and I feel like an ass because my eye totally jumped because I don't see it. Oh, because I jumped down to the TNA list. That's why. That's why I am not normally the host of this show. Despite being one of the longest running voices on this show, I don't have the knack to do this. But I can do a voice, and I can do it all right. Speaking of random factoids to lead us to Kurt Angle has said that his next 1 year contract will be his last. He's going to retire, but where will he retire from? We don't know. Where do you think he's signing, Nick? Come on, speculation, bitch.
I it's hard to call because he said he wants to go back to WWE at some point, or well, I don't know if he said it outright, but like he's been hinting at it. Is it kind of like the wouldn't that be pretty cool kind of
Agreed.
deal?
Yeah, I've definitely caught wind of that as well.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard not to see him re-signing with TNA, considering that he just went to India to do big promotions there, with the signing of the new wrestler and all that. So I want to say he'll be sticking around with TNA at least while he's wrestling. Maybe once he officially retires from wrestling, he'll sign a Legends deal with the WWE. But yeah, yeah. For now, I think he's gonna stick around with TNA until he actually does retire.
See, I don't think so. I think he's going to go to WWE, and I think that WWE's had an idea of this to be happening because of the way they've been building Rusev. I mean, can you get more American than Kurt Angle? I mean, you could always say Hogan because he's got the theme,
Mm-hmm.
but really, I mean, the Olympic gold medalist. He fought for the U.S. in world competition. You can't beat it. And if they have an idea that they're going to sign him, I could definitely see, he's gone through Swagger, he's gone through Henry, he's going, as of Raw, there's an interest in him versus Big Show. If he goes through Big Show, who's left? They could bring in Kurt Angle for that 1 year. I mean, to further push my point, Kurt Angle gave a list of wrestlers that he would like to wrestle before he retires. MVP, Ethan Carter III, but that's it for TNA. Then you have Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Rusev, and Daniel Bryan as the other people he wants to face. 4 guys to 2, I'm leaning more toward the WWE.
The way I read it is more of a hypothetical. Like, who would you want the chance to wrestle? Kind of like when Sting was asked who would he like to wrestle is, Undertaker, absolutely. Will that match ever happen? Probably not.
God, no.
Yeah. And the biggest problem I have with seeing Angle wrestling in the WWE is the dude's beat up. Like, he's been broken down and rebuilt so many times. And while he still puts on good matches in TNA when he's relatively healthy, I just don't see him passing wellness policies. Like, not for drugs or anything, but just the fact that he's had so many surgeries in so many vital areas. Like, it's the same reason they'll never let Hogan wrestle.
Right. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I think he could. I just don't think they're. I think they're gonna. If they're going to do it, and he's gonna come to WWE, he's gonna work more like Rob Van Dam or Jericho, in a very limited schedule. He's on for 3 months. He's off for 3 months, kind of thing, or some time period. They'll stagger him out because he doesn't need to be involved in everything. And at that point, he can also be helping guys at like NXT and the younger guys in the WWE main roster, helping them refine what they're doing because the guy's a great talker. The guy's got comedic talent. The guy can be a badass, and he's got a great work ethic. Those are all things to pass on to the next generation, and I think having him back on the main roster will help pass that knowledge on.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a very valid point. It's just him coming back as a wrestler, as opposed to a trainer or an ambassador or whatever you want to call the legends. Like, him coming on as a trainer, absolutely, he has a lot to offer to the guys in NXT. And I could even see a case made for doing what RVD does, like very limited schedules, very limited number of matches. Maybe the WWE would bend their own rules to make that happen. It's just he wants to wrestle for a year,
right?
And I just don't see that happening in the WWE. Not the way Angle wants.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just not seeing a meter, and I realized I was on the wrong microphone. Okay. And that's at about 8:30. Okay. Moving on with terrible segues, TNA held the New York Gold Rush tournament this past weekend on Impact, hosting 5 matches where the winners faced off at the end of the night to determine who's going to be the #1 contender to Bobby Lashley's world title. MVP Tajiri, Austin Aries, Mr. Anderson, and Abyss. All faced off with Aries being the winner. So, Nick, do you feel this was the right or best call? And if you had to select someone other than Aries to take the spot who was in that match, who would you pick?
I really do think Aries was the right guy out of the guys that made it to the final match. If I had to pick somebody, it would be MVP, given the fact that he's the next most legitimate. Tajiri wouldn't really make sense in a world title picture, not given his role right now. Anderson, I don't want to see in a world title picture. And Abyss, I Actually, Abyss could be kind of an interesting opponent for Lashley, but then you'd have to wonder why. Why would Abyss care? He's got other things going on. Like there's the deal with Graham and Magnus still have Janice. I don't know why that's been set on the back burner the way it has, but there are other things that I think would motivate Abyss more than I want gold.
Right. Looking over the match, I mean, I do think Aries is probably the right call out of all these guys. Although MVP would have been interesting, but you'd need a whole nother storyline to spark why they'd actually face off. That Bobby Lashley's gone rogue, something.
Mm.
I just don't think it would necessarily fit. But I mean, MVP would be a great pick to win that match. Anders, no, not Abyss. I'm gonna go Tajiri. Because the guy's had a shit ton of cred. He's worked with, every major company in the U.S. He's a great light heavyweight or cruiserweight, whatever you want to call him. I mean, call me crazy, but I think it would be fun to see Tajiri get a shot and to see how well he could work with someone like Bobby Lashley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, I think if he was a TNA talent, I'd definitely be more in line with him getting a shot.
I'm sorry, Nick, I've lost you there for a second.
Oh, okay.
You started talking, all of a sudden I heard digital crap, and yeah.
No, weird. Yeah, I was just saying. I think if he was actually on the roster as a TNA talent, I think he'd be getting a much more legitimate chance of a shot.
Yeah, I think I could agree. I think I could agree with that. Moving on to TNA and even more horrible transitions, which is what I really wanted to transition to before I fucked up the initial transition. Jason Hervey, better known for his projects with Eric Bischoff and playing Wayne Arnold on The Wonder Years, tweeted out a photo while he was at WGN America. With the rumor that TNA is getting a new network and with his connection to Eric Bischoff and TNA, is TNA's new possible network WGN? And do you think it would be a good move?
I think so. WGN has a lot of reach. It's nationally available. I'm not exactly sure what their viewership is as opposed to Spike, but I gotta think it's bigger. I believe WGN is basic cable.
I believe so too. Because
Yeah.
once I finally got cable, because I didn't have cable for a long time. Yeah, I think. I mean, I could always catch a Cubs game because that's what WGN was to me. It was the channel that aired Cubs. It aired the Cubbies. So yeah, I mean, I think they've got a broader reach. I think a bigger reach, but is it narrowed enough for TNA will succeed? You know what I'm saying? Like Spike, you had the male audience. It may have been a smaller audience, but you definitely had your target audience. WGN, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I've been hearing that WGN wants to get a lot more original programming going. They want to move away from just being like the rerun channel for '90s shows.
Right.
So having a draw like TNA, like Impact Wrestling, that would definitely kind of kickstart that. And as far as viewership goes, I just pulled it up. They've got WGN America is available in approximately, I'll round up and say 74 million paying television households. It says that's almost 65% of households with at least one TV set. And that's as of August 2013. So Spike reaches about 40 million. So that's definitely a big increase for the potential audience.
Fair enough. I mean, valid points through and through. It's just speculation here.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, a number of people in the illustrious IWC are saying that TNA blew their load in New York with the first run of tapings and said they set the bar way too damn high. Like the rent. The rent is too damn high. Do you agree with that, or do you think everything's A-okay on that front, Nick?
Uh, as much as I hate giving anything like the typical smart says credence, it is a legitimate concern that TNA just blew everything on the New York tapings, and they won't be able to live up to that. It's a legitimate worry because the standard has been set so high. They put a lot of great content. I would counter that with the fact that apart well, I was gonna say apart from Homicide and Low Key, but they're gonna be sticking around, to my understanding. Um, they're gonna have the same talent moving forward. The only variable that would be changing is the audience, and there's a lot to be said for the New York crowd. They were definitely hot for most anything, and it's gonna be hard to reproduce that in other settings. But kind of combining this topic with the last, if they do sign a deal with WG in America, maybe they could relocate to Chicago, start having shows there. I mean, Chicago's such a big wrestling town, so
Yeah,
that could potentially be a good move.
Deuce actually brings that up. He says that anything other than Spike is a good move, and Chicago would be totally a better home base than TNA, or for TNA, than Spike. And he says, in Spike, you have the audience but no promotion. WGN serves a wider demographic and will likely promote and advertise Impact, which is always a good thing because if they don't promote it, the show will languish. And, that was the big Paul Heyman bitch many moons ago about when he was on TNN, was that they wouldn't promote anything. So he couldn't do anything. He couldn't get the viewers. They wanted the viewers before they'd promote. He couldn't get the viewers unless they promoted. And there you go.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a big catch-22, but I mean, it's just basic marketing. You won't get results unless you actually put something into it.
Yeah, exactly. We put a lot of hard work into this show, and well, it is what it is. No, we have great listeners that have motivated us to keep going with the show, and for what now, 4 years, I think it is.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, I know my Facebook page listed as my job. I mean, I'm. It's not like I did a Kickstarter to get this job, but January or February of 2010. So it's been 4 years, almost 5. Holy crap! This show's been going on. The show's been going on for a damn long time, and thank you everybody for listening. Seriously, love it. Huh?
Hearts.
Oh, hearts. I heard Hark or Clark, and when you said I thought it was Clark, I'm like, Griswold. I still can't believe they're starting the cast for a reboot of Vacation. Terrible idea.
That means nothing to me.
The National Lampoon's Vacation movies?
Yeah, I never watched those.
Oh, so good. So good. Well, TNA's Bound for Glory is taking place October 12th. That's in like 2 weeks. Thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
From the Korakuen Hall?
Yes, sir.
Hells yeah, I finally got it right. And we will be previewing it on October 7th. That's next week.
It is, yep.
So really, it's not 2 weeks away. It's like a week and a half away. On FTW235. Just to run down the card, Team 3D is going to be inducted in the TNA Hall of Fame. The main event in Japan will be James Storm and the Great Sonata versus the Great Muta and Tajiri. However, PW Insider is speculating that a new main event will be tacked on for the U.S. broadcast, possibly a World Heavyweight Championship match. So I'm totally bad at reading. And to continue the card, X Division title match, Samoa Joe versus Low Ki and Kaz Hayashi. Tajiri and the Great Muta versus James Storm and the Great Sonata, which we said. Ethan Carter III versus Ryoto Hama. MVP versus Kazuma Sakamoto. Team 3D versus Tommy Dreamer and Abyss. because why not team up anybody with Tommy Dreamer? And, it doesn't matter. He works well with everybody. Velvet Sky versus Havoc. Manic versus Minoru Tanaka. It looks like it's going to be an interesting card. I'm actually excited to see it. I probably won't get to see it because I'll be out of town working. That being said, it looks like it'd be because, yeah, I'm excited to see wrestlers I've never seen before.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very interesting show for especially for the U.S. fans' point of view. Like you said, we haven't seen a lot of these guys like ever. Like Sakamoto is one thing. Spent some time in the WWE,
Right.
but like guys like Hayashi or Tanaka, I've heard good things about those guys, and they were on the show that I think it was the first Wrestle One TNA show that they did. They were on that show, and again, I heard good things about that match. So yeah, it's absolutely going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Alrighty, unless we've got anything else, I'm gonna check the chat briefly. Deuce says TNA is going to have a major blowout during the beginning of their new run to pull viewers, but it's unreasonable to expect any promotion to maintain that pacing on a constant basis. Fair enough point. And he looks for them to add a TNA title match in the near future to the Bound for Glory card. I was hoping for Rudes versus Aries versus Lashley in a three-way dance.
Yeah, there have been some spoilers released, which we're not going to get into, and in the report that PW Insider made, like they said that it's a lock, that there is going to be a different main event for the U.S. broadcast. Like the tag match is just going to be the main event for the live Japanese crowd, but yeah, it's basically confirmed that there will be something else for the U.S. broadcast. It's speculated that there will be a world title match.
Cool. One more check of the chat. Not seeing anything new. All right. Let's move on because we don't, unless you, Nick, do you have anything else to talk about right now?
I mean,
this is going to be a really damn short show, my friends.
Yeah, we pretty much ran through this real quickly. Apparently, when we cut out everybody else, I'll call them the dead weight here. We get shit done.
Hells yeah, Team Beard all the way. All right, well then I guess it's time for win fail. Nick, my friend, what is your win of the week?
I'm not really sure if I should classify this as a win, given that it's kind of terrible. But Lawler issued the sickest burn on Bo Dallas that I have ever heard from him. They were talking about what is Bo Dallas the poster child of now that Mark Henry has kicked the shit out of him, and you could hear it right before they moved on to something else, like really softly. You could hear Lawler say birth control. That is equal parts terrible and hilarious, and I think I respect Lawler a little bit more now.
Yeah, to hear when he gets a good jab in, he gets a good one in. Much like everybody seems to hate JBL. I'm a JBL fan because when he gets a dig in, it's awesome. And he keeps saying Maggle, so I think that's funny every time. Damn it, Maggle! Not Michael, Maggle.
Yep.
Love it. I don't know why. It's stupid. It's petty, but funny. My win of the week, actually, it's tough this week. It's been kind of a rough week. I guess the potential of the Bellas doing a cage match because, like I said before, women in cages, giggity. That gets my wrestling Jones going. because
Yeah,
I want to see women kick as much ass as the men because they can. It's
that's right.
it's fact. Just get the right ones in there, the ones who really want to kick ass. What is your fail of the week, Nick?
My feel is the whole uh, Big Show Rusev segment where Big Show tore down the Russian flag, and a lot of people would find the fail in the fact that the WWE apologized for that. My fail is the fact that they aired the segment at all. I I take no issue with the apology, especially in light of past events with Jericho kicking the Brazilian flag and him almost getting arrested by the army. It's it was smart of them to get out in front of the outrage and apologize, but it would have been smarter if they never had the segment at all. Like somebody clearly didn't think things through there.
Agreed. My fail of the week is going to be the rumor that Vince has decreed that anybody who stars on Total Divas will not win the Divas Championship. I think that's stupid because Natalya is a great worker. You've got both the Bellas who you're putting into major title contention. Is how close their storyline is to the championship. Natural progression says one of them's going to go for the championship soon. I just think it shoots himself in the foot to just throw that down there. I mean, to me, if anything, it says cancel Total Divas. Because why are you going to hurt your talent? I guess they're not necessarily hurting their talent by doing it, but to me, it's really stupid. Because you're doing this, you can't do this. Why? Because it ruins continuity because you tape early? Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm of two minds about that myself. On the one hand, I agree. Natalia, either the Bellas at this point, Naomi, they all could do well with a title shot. Absolutely. I kind of like that they want to draw that line though, if only for the purpose of storylines. Like right now, we've got multiple Diva storylines. You've got the title picture and whatever's going on Total Divas. That's two built-in storylines right there. And on top of that, you have Nikki versus Brie, which makes three. In terms of storyline, in terms of creative, the Divas are doing really well right now with that split.
Agreed.
Now, I do hope that split isn't hard and fast. I do hope that circumstances arise where Natalya can get a title shot or Naomi can get a title shot. But yeah, in that respect, I do hope it's not hard and fast divide. I'm right with you there.
Cool. Yeah, so I mean that's my fail. You gave yours. Nick, do you have any final thoughts?
Phew. Yeah, I guess just stay tuned to the YouTube channel. Um, like we've been saying for the past couple weeks, we've got new content coming out all the time now, both from us, the hosts, and from you guys, the community. Michelle's got Total Divas reviews. Deuce has been putting out videos. There's some stuff in the works for other members of the community. There's the Intro to the Indies series that we've been trying to get the ball rolling on that. Seriously, guys, if you have any suggestions for that particular segment, feel free to leave them in the comments, email us, hit us up on Twitter, anywhere. The more input you guys provide, the better as far as we're concerned. But yeah, just stay tuned to that, and we'll keep producing content as long as you guys keep asking for it.
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to throw something out there for all the listeners. One person we've been trying to get on the show, and I think scheduling for it's going to be a little awkward, is Justin Main. He's a local Michigan indie wrestler. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. He's interested in coming on the show. Unfortunately, schedules don't always seem to work out. So if you've got questions for Justin Main, send them in. And we are going to hopefully soon be able to work out a time to do an interview with him and to ask him your questions. So if you've got questions, we want to ask them. Uh, so send those in. Look him up on YouTube. That's Justin Mane, Mane, and you'll see some great stuff. I know he's wrestled for Clash. He did like BCWA. We've talked to a number of those guys. He's been all over the place, at least in the Michigan Midwest area. I think he's going to be in the new Jurassic Park movie, at least as an extra, if not a some type of speaking part. I'm not sure. But yeah, get questions, send them in. We'll get answers. We'll set up a time for that. And this is really my push to make sure we get that done, because I feel bad that we've had so much stuff go on with people in this podcast that we haven't been able to schedule it between our schedules and his schedules, and we're going to get this done. So that's my final thoughts.
Oh, one more thing. We've been trying to get the ball rolling on kind of our own featured live chat. What we're talking about is finding something either on the network or finding it on YouTube or Daily Motion, but we want to watch a match or a show together. So if you've got any suggestions on things we should watch as a group together and kind of run our own little live chat on it, send those in. Again, in the comments, on Twitter, anywhere you can find us. If you've got something in mind for that, like suggestions have been made for New Japan shows. And there's always the idea of watching something on the network together. So
Yeah, NXT is a great feature for that, or just going back to some old stuff.
yeah, definitely. So if you guys have something in mind, let us know.
Cool. And that is the show. It's a short one this week. Go check out FTWpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. How to even possibly be a speaking voice on this show, because we're always getting people in and out of this show. Join us live each and every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on FTWlive.com. For myself, Nick, everyone who's been watching on YouTube and the live chat, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.